What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, we are talking about David Montgomery. Is he overvalued or is he at the right spot? Man, I have a lot of concerns for him going into the next season. I definitely think Cohen plays a major factor in his production, in his volume as well. And I definitely think we need to actually address the draft, correctly. If we go out and get a David Montgomery, he's a little expensive right now for my taste. So I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get right into the episode. So David Montgomery, man, is he overvalued or is he at the right spot? Right now, his ADP is at 309, people. That is just a little expensive for me, but we're all hoping for him to have that same production he gave us the last 6 weeks of the last season. So I definitely think, Cohen coming back from injury is going to play a major factor in why I want to pump the brakes on David Montgomery. I definitely think he's a great player. Definitely when he got opportunity, he showed up and showed out. I just do not believe that Matt Nagy is going to just shy away from Cohen because we all own Cohen probably once or twice. So to be honest, he isn't a terrible, fantasy option. He's like a good flex play there. He'll put up, 12 to 15 points and you'll be sitting there looking happy because you're like, all right, well, I got something out of Cohen. But the issue here is now we saw David Montgomery go 6 weeks in a row from week 12 and on to week 17 to put up 20-plus points, people. That is elite RB1 numbers that we know we can get out of him. He was involved in the passing game as well. So I definitely think, going to this next season, Cohen plays a major factor in that because we all know the passing, the pass catching role is definitely Cohen. That's his lane. That's what he's there for. We're not expecting more than like 10 rushing attempts from him unless David Montgomery is injured, etc. But it's like, man, him coming back really messes up what we can potentially have with Monty going into 2021. Him finishing RB4, that was full potential. That's what we were supposed to see all season. But also we need to put into the factor that now, they're looking for a QB. Trubisky's probably not coming back, which, is what I'm pretty much set on today. Nick Foles is there. Nick Foles isn't the answer for the Bears in the long term or even the short term. So right now they're QB shopping. They're trying to get Russell Wilson. We don't know how true that is. They're trying to go get Watson. We don't know. They might even go into the draft and get Trey Lance, but being that he just got the hype from Pro Day, it doesn't look like he's going to fall to them in the 20th spot. So there's a lot of things going on with the Bears right now. And I definitely think this all plays a factor, being that if they don't have a QB, if they don't have a set QB, if they go in the Foles, going to this next season, there's a lot of games that they played this year where they were down by halftime. So what that means is if they're down by halftime, they're down by 2 possessions. That means they're not going to run the ball that much. And then what happens? They're going to start passing the ball. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. And then here comes Cohen. He's a pass catching back. He's going to get all those targets. He's going to get all those opportunities. And then maybe they move the ball, let's say inside the 20, and then they get, red zone duty or goal line duty. That's where Monty becomes relevant. Look at Monty's rookie season. I mean, it's all telling there. Between 11 to 15 to 16 points, and he popped off at 20 points here and there. His rookie season was chopped up and held back because of Cohen. So with Cohen coming back, this is what worries me about taking Monty at the 309. Does Matt Nagy wake up and say, hey, Monty is a full send? We saw what he did the last 6 weeks. But even with that, it's telling also of why Monty might have went off. Being that Green Bay isn't the best, run defense, they were in the middle of the pack, but I wouldn't say they were bad. I wouldn't say they were great either. So he was bound to pop off. And also, this is a division game. A lot of division games you have to be a little wishy-washy with, and you can't really take into account as 100% full send. Being that, it's a division game, you play them twice a year, every year, so you know what their game plan is. You know what their strengths and their weaknesses are. So therefore, there's that. Now, with them facing Detroit, that was just overall bad. He put up major points, 20-plus points. Now, the Vikings are also at the bottom of the table when it comes to run defense. Also put up 20-plus points. So all these teams, all these other teams he faced, Jacksonville, bottom of the table, they're like third to last. And then he faced Houston, which are dead last, with run defense. So therefore, those last 6 weeks, they're kind of suspect, man. It's kind of like if he didn't do that, then we would have more concern, more questions. But being that he did that, I'm not going to victory him and say he's, crown champion of that RB4, that he's going to do it again this season. There's no way. I don't think any fantasy owner is going into this next season thinking that Monty's going to put up RB4 again or even close to that. Being that Tariq Cohen's coming back, the QB, situation going on, there's a lot of things that go into the factor. And their defense, the Bears defense, wasn't terrible and it wasn't great. So a lot of times they're tired out and they're giving up a lot of points. So therefore, that's what makes them come from behind and have to pass the ball, 30 to 40 times a game. That is the issue also going into the next season with addressing the draft, David Montgomery. I don't want guys going into the draft and seeing that 309 ADP thinking, oh, well, he's not going to fall to me, so I need to go get him. So that's the problem, getting him in the early third because you don't think he's going to fall or whatever the case may be. Not the early third, the late second, thinking that he's not going to fall to you in the third round. That's a problem. And I honestly don't want to see that happening because I understand how it gets a little scary in the third and fourth round. The third and fourth round, the late third round, early fourth, and mid fourth round, it looks a little weird when it comes to running backs. There's not much options there. All the running backs are gone. I think it's like 9 to 10 running backs that's going in the first round this year. And that is just, man, that we already know it's running back heavy because I guess you got to go get the guys that you need to go get to put up the big points, right? Elite points. That's the point of the first round. So I definitely think in the fourth round, I'm 100% going wide receiver. I really don't see any value there in any of the running backs. You're left with, the Raheem Mosterts and the Kareem Hunts in the fourth round, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to be in that realm looking for a RB2 or RB1 there. I want to get my 2 RB, ones in the first and second round or a high-end RB2 in the second round, et cetera, et cetera. But again, I just don't want to be fishing around. So Monty with that 309 ADP as of now is a little, I don't know, because the point that I'm trying to make here is I don't want to overvalue him just based on the last 6 weeks that we've seen. We've seen plenty of people kill it the last 6 weeks or help you in the fantasy playoffs and help you bring home the gold. But then there's like, man, going into this season, their situation is going to change. Every year it's a new situation. If it's injury, if it's a trade, a guy they bring in through the draft, et cetera, et cetera. Going into this new season, I don't feel comfortable taking David Montgomery in the third round. I don't feel comfortable taking him as my RB1 for the simple fact, say you do for some wild-ass reason, you go, wide receiver, tight end, and then you're looking in the third round as Monty is your RB1. That doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't make me feel confident about my team. That doesn't make me feel like, the Bears are on the rise. They're a high-power offense all of a sudden because they brung in, let's say they do get Russell Wilson. I still don't feel confident in Monty going forward being my RB1, being that I know the pestering Tariq Cohen is there back and healthy. And we all know Matt Nagy likes utilizing him and put him in spaces where he can make big plays because that's not cap right now. And I can't believe I just said cap, but let's not lie to ourselves and think that Tariq Cohen isn't a factor or an X factor in that offense. Not saying he's a great player where he's putting up RB1 numbers, but he's there making big plays for that team to win games. That's the issue there when it comes to investing in Monty, because Tariq Cohen isn't nothing to sleep on. He's going to be there to be making plays out of the backfield. He's going to be there, for the check downs, the screens, etc. You might see him on some goal line duty catching the ball out of the backfield, and they get it in that way. So that is my concern with David Montgomery. I just don't want to overvalue this guy. I just don't want to go reaching on this guy. And I don't want you guys to go out there, especially the Wolfpack, to go out there and get burned on a Monty as your RB1 week to week. And then you end up with an RB2 that looks like a Mostert, that looks like a Kareem Hunt. Not saying Kareem Hunt sucks or anything like that, but I just want to be confident with Kareem Hunt as the backup to my David Montgomery. You know what I mean? I would love to have, maybe a Jonathan Taylor and then a Kareem Hunt, but I'm not feeling okay with David Montgomery and then a Kareem Hunt or a Raheem Mostert, et cetera. I just need that confidence, that comfortability going into the draft, leaving the draft saying, hey, I got a running back. I got 2 running backs that are going to be able to produce, at least 15 to 25 points between both of them. So that's all I want to preach for you guys here. I don't want to waste too much time on this subject, but I definitely think I got my point across. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to get to you guys, not to overvalue or to reach on David Montgomery. If you're in Dynasty, a small little Dynasty plug here, I would probably be looking to sell David Montgomery right now for the simple fact that people are living off the last 6 weeks that he had. Those are nothing to sleep on, people. He literally rode you to the championship if he was on your team as an RB2, being that, nobody foreseen the future that Tariq Cohen would get hurt. So I definitely think you should be selling David Montgomery right now. Sell him for a big price. You can get a nice little bang for your buck because people are going to live off that third round, that 309, ADP, and then the last 6 weeks that he just put up amazing 20-point plus numbers. So I definitely think if you're a dynasty owner, you can get some good value in there. That's a good play right now to be selling David Montgomery. But again, we shall see what happens, what they do in the draft. Again, they have the 20th pick in the first round. They have to take a quarterback there, right? I don't think they're going to get one of the, the top prospects, but they have to take a quarterback there. They have to bring in some type of talent. You know what I mean? And also, Allen Robinson is leaving. One of their best players on their offense. I don't know how I didn't cover that as well. One of their best players did not sign the franchise tag. He has zero plans to signing that. So with Allen Robinson leaving, it's looking like, hey, they don't have any offensive weapons. I know Darnell Mooney is there, but I think Mooney is only as good as Allen Robinson if he is there, taking those 150 targets and Mooney gets the rest. So I don't know what's going to look like with Mooney getting, majority of those targets, but maybe it's Anthony Miller's season again. I don't know, but we shall see. But again, they're losing one of their best players on the offense, and it's a total mess at the QB position. Tariq Cohen's coming back, so please do not overpay for David Montgomery. So this wraps up the episode of David Montgomery if he's overvalued, which I believe he is right now. I'm pretty sure you got the idea of that watching this video. So don't go overpaying. Don't go out there reaching for him. Just draft smart, people. Don't go out there looking crazy on draft day and then you walk away from the draft feeling like a jackass. But hey, hopefully you're watching this. You're getting information. Hopefully you're applying it to your draft day. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.